on one tank of gas.
It's an American car company built in America with American parts.
We'll show you the car of the future that will soon be driving into dealerships. Good evening, everyone. This is WNWO News at 6. I'm Angie Gonzalez.
And I'm Jim Blue. Tonight's big story, the floods in Findlay. The city, once again, dealing with the overflowing Blanchard River after days of heavy rain.
WNWO's Bryant Madrick is back live in Findlay. He begins our team coverage tonight of this mess. Bryant, what's the latest?
All right, well, Jim and Angie, right now, if there's any good news out of this flooding, it's the fact that the river is receding. I want you to take a look at where the river stands. Right now, river was recorded at 13.99 feet, and it is going down. It crested this morning at 8:15 at 14.10 feet. That's well below the 15 feet that many experts, including the National Weather Service, predicted would happen. Now, it's still very high water, and many streets throughout Findlay have been flooded. And as a result of those high waters, lots of motorists have been driving on roads like Main Street here in downtown Findlay. It's one of the main routes here in Findlay, and people have been using this road as mainly their only way to get through and across town. Now, I talked with the mayor to get an update on where things stand, and for the most part, the mayor is basically saying the same thing a lot of people are saying. They're relieved.
All of your usual suspects are underwater right now, and it's basically a travel nightmare for most folks at this point. We had actually anticipated, after talking with the Weather Service this morning, that it would go up a little higher than 1410. But you know what? We're fine with that, and we're glad to see that it's actually starting to recede.
So now, basically, because Main Street is one of the main routes for people to get through Findlay, it's actually a good news, not just for the city because they don't have a lot of flood damage, but also for a lot of business owners because Main Street is where you can find a lot of the businesses here in Findlay. And the road was actually expected to be closed last night because of the threat of those high flood coming over the roadways and over this bridge here, but that never happened. And tonight at 11, you'll hear from some very relieved and happy business owners and how they're doing a day after the flood. We're live in Findlay tonight. Bryant Madrick, WNWO News.
Thanks so much, Bryant. Well, most Findlay residents have gotten used to the occasional flooding. It makes you realize how long you've been here year after year, but it doesn't mean that they stop worrying about those levels getting too high.
WNWO's Chris Delkamp spoke with a couple of residents in the flood zone, and he has
Tell you where you can get them done this weekend before Monday's deadline. Good evening, everyone. You're watching WNWO News at 11. I'm Angie Gonzalez. Our big story tonight continues to be the floodwaters down in Findlay. As the Blanchard River rose, there was a mix of good and bad for people, and in particular, business owners were keeping their eye on things, hoping that their stores would be spared by the flood. WNWO's Bryant Madrick talked to one of those business owners.
Main Street stayed open, and so did a lot of businesses that rely on traffic here on this main street here in Findlay. Business owners I talked with say they're happy and relieved that this river didn't flood and that their businesses weren't affected.
Glad nothing happened.
It's a feeling people, including new business owner Bill Davidson, has after preparing for the worst. Thursday night, as the Blanchard River rose higher and higher, Davidson cleared his used furniture store.
I brought stuff in still preparing that it might flood. My landlord still said keep it out. I brought enough in I could get out in an hour if I need be.
We were prepared most definitely for something that was going to be a little bit more severe than what actually happened.
What actually happened was the river crested over 14 feet Friday morning, a foot less than what was predicted. And while it was less water, the river is still over the major flood stage, and plenty of streets and parks remain underwater.
We're still asking residents to please mind the barricades. It's not okay to drive through floodwater. You never know what's underneath it, and the current could be stronger than what you anticipate.
Davidson now works hard to bring all of his used furniture back into his store. But were predictions of high floodwaters overblown?
It was, but I'd rather have it overblown than not be prepared.
The floodwaters continue to go down, and that's certainly good news, but there's still plenty of streets throughout Findlay that are flooded. Over the next couple of days, the city says that they'll start to assess the damage and start to move forward with the cleanup. In Findlay, Bryant Madrick, WNWO News.